For more on the impact of the powerful tornadoes in Tennessee, we are joined by Republican Senator from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn. Senator, thank you so much for making time for us. In the break, just ahead of this, when we were talking, you mentioned that you know the owner of that candle factory that was just leveled. What have you heard from her this morning?
I know that they are on the ground there in Mayfield. They are trying to conduct the recovery and they're making the assessments. Our hearts are just breaking, not only for Mayfield, Kentucky, but for all of those who have lost lives, who have lost livelihoods, who have been adversely impacted. And this is where, Jackie, Mayfield, Kentucky, all of these communities in each of these states are going to need our help. And we in Tennessee, we're the volunteer state. We show up to do our best to help people recover. And we join them in a time of grief and sorrow and a time for recovery. And we know that that work is going to continue for many weeks to come.
What have you been hearing, Senator, from first responders and people in the community about how long it's going to take to assess the damage here and start to rebuild?
Well, and all of our county mayors, we have great local elected officials in Tennessee, and our team has been working since the early morning hours, about 3 o'clock in the morning, with local elected officials, making these assessments. And of course, the first thing is to get the roads cleared and to deal with utilities and power. And they are doing that. I think we have nearly 150,000 Tennesseans that are without power. We also have those that are working with local officials to get the roads clear so that they can get into families, to businesses, and can properly make the assessment. Unfortunately, in Tennessee, in March of 2020, we had a very deadly tornado that was on the ground for about 100 miles, and those communities have begun to recover. Some of those communities have been hit yet again. And then, of course, Jackie, as you and Griff know, we had the flood in Waverly, Tennessee earlier this year, and that community is in recovery. But we know that people are going to show up to help. We are people of faith, and we're going to get through this.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's just devastating to know that some of those communities that are just getting on their feet have been hit yet again by this. You bring up a couple of good points about power outages and removal of debris.
Yes.
As I understand it, even getting cell phone service in some of those areas is pretty difficult right now. And then you've got to think about where are people going to go, and if their homes and their businesses are leveled, do they have medical support? Do they have diapers, formula for babies and families who are displaced? What are you telling people who are in those positions?
Right, and they need to be checking with their local authorities because there are safe places that are set up for them to go. And Tennessee Emergency Management Association, TEMA, has their website up. People can go there. Our governor is talking with the president today, right about now, and then the governor is going to be heading out to West Tennessee. And Senator Haggerty and his team, along with the rest of Tennessee's congressional delegation, we're working with the local authorities to make these assessments so that we can figure out the amount of damage and figure out the proper request for a disaster declaration and complete that as quickly as we can. And of course, we'll be working with FEMA and with Homeland Security as we go through these issues and make these assessments. So it's one of those. It's going to be a full day of work today and tomorrow, and of course in the week ahead to make these proper assessments, and of course to be sure that people are safe and that the help that is needed immediately is going to be there for these families.
Senator, how does this compare to past natural disasters that you've had in your area? Is this among the worst you've seen? It
is, and I have I have not been out on the ground this morning. I do anticipate that I will do that as soon as our local officials say they're ready for that help. We have to remember that President Trump came in to Tennessee, into Putnam County in March of 20 after that tornado hit, because of the extent of devastation there, the loss of life that was there, communities that were just completely leveled. And when you see this type devastation, whether it is from a tornado or from a hurricane or from a flood, depending on different areas of the country, you see that power that is there in these natural storms and these weather events and the impact that this has. Now, one of the helpful things is the technology that we do have available to us now that enables people to move to safety. You know, I was awakened this morning by the sirens that were going off.
Wow.
in my community, and the weather alerts that were on my phone.
Wow. I mean, you just have to be grateful for that kind of technology these days. I mean, this
Right.
did happen in the middle of the night, and that's, you know, some of the
Yes.
scariest times to have something like this happen. But thankful that, you know, we have that technology available to us. Senator,
Yes, indeed.
thank you for your time. My heart goes out to
Sure.
your community. We'll keep you in our prayers, and thank you for talking to us. Appreciate it.
You got it. Take care. Bye-bye.